Hey everybody, how's it going? This is a little update video. Instead of painting my Deathwing Terminator squad, which I really should, but instead of doing that, I'm going to invest all my painting time that I have from here on out to painting the Chaplain that I had commissioned, as the one you saw in that review video. Here he is, base coat, I'll get to him in a second, as well as an Assault on Black Ridge Tactical Marine that I'm doing as a test color scheme for the Angels of Fury, just to get one made up, because I might as well, you know? And it's a pretty quick color scheme, so it shouldn't be too bad. That's the hope. The Deathwing Terminator squad I was working on was a Thunderhammer, the assault one for the Pirates of the Army, and I really should, because I only have one HQ and one squad, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, I base coated the models, and before I talk about this guy, the Assault on Black Ridge Marines or pretty much the Assault on Black Ridge models, with the exception of the Dreadnought, I believe, and the Deathcopters. I believe everything else, infantry-wise, is slotted bases. Now, they're all plastic, but it's plastic with slotted bases. I guess it's just a process in which they can easily produce the snap-fit models. Now, the models have good detail, but there are pieces on it that don't have detail, and I'll be showing you that once I show you the model, not in this video, but in other videos. Because where it snaps to, it's not meant to convert up and put different weapons on, it's meant to snap at the weapons they're meant for. So, the pieces that you don't see, because they're going to be flush against each other, have no detail. Nothing against that, because the rest of the model is pretty well detailed, but it's just FYI in case you didn't know that and you wanted to get them and maybe change out weapons. It would make it a little bit more difficult. Anyway, normally I would clip off the slotted base thing for plastic and put them on a regular base, but I don't have an abundance of regular bases, so I'm just going to use the bases given. So what I do when I base coat models on a slotted base, and I know I'm rambling here, but when I use slotted bases for metal or plastic, whatever, I will glue him to the base first, then base coat him, do his base, for the most part. I put the flock down at the very least, paint up the model, then paint up the base. I don't put the flock down first, because sometimes when you put flock down or put base materials down, it gets in the way of the slotted base and the guy can't fit in very well. And I don't just chop off the things, and I don't just use slotted bases without the slot. I don't just chop off the slot and use those bases, because then you have like a little weird gap, little hole in the middle of your base, which you could of course cover up with something. And I may do that in the future, but for now I'm not, because that's just added work. Anyway, I base coated the Chaplain, and I use Chaos Black as the base coat. So my Chaos Black pots are running on empty right now, kind of. One of them was kind of sludgy, because I just been sitting in the back of my paints for a while. So what I did in order to revitalize that is I added some water. I don't know how much, maybe a mil or two of water. Really don't know. Probably just a mil. 2 sounds excessive. And I shook it up. It wasn't that much paint in there to begin with. And I pretty much revitalized it, but I made it thin. Normally when I base coat, I just base coat straight from the pot, as long as it's not too thick. I will use some water to thin down paint a little bit to get it to a normal consistency, quote unquote normal. But this is thinner than I was used to using. And some people swear by thin paints, and I'm sure people will say I'm stupid for not using it. But thinned out paints, but I don't. But it was a nice experience using thinned out paints, or pretty thinned out paint. It helped get into the crevices and everything with this model. As you know or may not know, because I did say it in a couple of videos, is that when I paint my models, I paint them in sections. I partially assemble them, paint them up, assemble them completely, do any touch-ups that might be necessary, and then they're done. This guy is the opposite. This guy is fully assembled, and that's something I'm not used to. I've done it a couple of times in the beginning of my painting career, so to speak, but never really invested time in really learning how to do it. So this would be an experience. It'll be different from what I'm normally used to doing, and I can say from base coating this guy that he's going to be a bit of a chore to paint because of all the detail on him, which isn't a bad thing. It's just that, you know, the more detailed the model is, the longer it takes to paint, and considering it's fully assembled, it's going to make it a little bit harder. And like getting to the backpack by the halo, for example, and getting to the halo by the backpack and the helmet, and so on and so forth. So has some challenges to it. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to probably do the base first on this guy, and probably do the base first on the Angels of Fury, which is not the best thing to do on the slotted bases, like I said, when you put the flock down. But I'm going to, most likely, definitely on this guy. And the reason for that is this model is pretty much done as far as having a main color for the armor, because he's a chaplain whose armor is black. Now, aside from maybe some highlighting and stuff like that, the armor itself is done. So the boots you see down there are done and everything like that. The only thing that would make doing the base a little bit potentially not as desirable, but I think overall the best thing to do first is his robes, because then I have to go back and paint the robes. But like if his, it all depends on how you do your bases too. Like I'm gonna do some dry brushing on the bases, which is why I didn't want to get him fully painted and then get some dry brushing all over him by accident, which may happen when you're doing dry brushes across the model and trying to be safe about it. But sometimes you do get some splash damage on the model. So I'm going to do that first, because overall, while I may attempt some dry brushing on the robes, it's just going to be a standard painting procedure. So I figure I'd do the base first, then retouch up the model with black everywhere, like on the boot right there, for example. But I'll retouch up the model anywhere that I got the basing colors on, and then I can move on to the robes, which is going to be the second thing I do. It's either the base of the robes or then the robes in the base. So I'm going to do the base first. And just to keep with the theme, I'll probably do the base first on the Angels of Fury guy. I don't know. We'll see. At the very least, I might put the base color down on his base. That way the flock stays better. Because if you're not using, well, this wasn't a resin base, but it had thicker flocking material, which is nice. I like it. One complaint with the Games Workshop flock is it's kind of fine grain, and I like some thickness too, or some coarser grain, I guess would be the better word, and a mixture of coarse and fine grain together looks very good on a base. So if you're using flock of any kind, you glue it down, and then you can do one of two things. You can either go over the flock with with PVA glue, watered down, to seal it in, or you can use a base coat of whatever color you're going to use to seal it in. The watered down glue is good if you're going to put more stuff, like depending on if it's, I guess, kind of hilly, or it works well for especially sealing in flocked styrofoam or flocked raised material. But paint can work just as well. Paint will seal it in too. So that's why if you're going to flock your base but have a model on it and not paint the flock right away, I suggest at least doing a base coat for the base in whatever style you're going to do your base in, so in the desert, putting a brown down on it or something. That way it's not too much. You didn't invest too much into it. You're not gonna. So if you dirty it up by painting your model, it's not a big deal. Just something to help the flock from flaking off onto your model while you paint it and then getting flock on your model. Anyway, yeah, that's a bit of a ramble. So that's my plan of attack on this guy, and I'm going to take you along for the ride. So I'm going to do his base. I'm going to finish base coat an Angel of Fury model. Do their bases. Once that's done, I'm going to show it to you and then talk about what I did, how it went, and what I'm going to do next, in case anybody's really that interested. So anyways, that's pretty much it. And until next time, take it easy.